Dear students, today we are going to study bioavailability and bioequivalence. Bioavailability, it is useful in development of new dosage form, in determination of influence of excipients, in development of new formulation, and to control the quality of the drug products. It is also useful in a comparison of drug with a different dosage form. Today we are going to discuss bioavailability and bioequivalence. First we will see bioavailability. Bioavailability name itself indicates that how much drug is available in the body to produce active effect. It can be defined as rate and amount or extent of absorption of unchanged drug from its dosage form. Action produced by the drug is depend upon how much drug is reached to the systematic circulation. If we are given drug by intravenous route, it has 100% bioavailability because drug is directly enters into the systematic circulation and 100% drug is available to produce action. And suppose if same drug is given by the other route other than the intravenous route, then its bioavailability get decreases. It happens because of some drug remain unabsorbed and some drug even it get absorbed into the body because of first pass metabolism. Bioavailability get decreases. If we consider 70% of drug is reached to the systematic circulation, then only 70% of drug produces the action. Hence, from this we can understand that intravenous route gives 100% bioavailability and other route reduces the bioavailability due to the different number of factors. Reduces the bioavailability. There are two types of bioavailability, absolute bioavailability and relative bioavailability. In absolute bioavailability, there is a comparison between orally administered drug with the intravenous administration, and in relative bioavailability, there is a comparison between oral administration of a drug with the oral standard of the same drug. Methods to enhance the solubility are similar to methods to enhance the bioavailability. Here there are some factors which influence the bioavailability. Now we will discuss bioequivalence. Bioequivalence is a comparison of bioavailability of two or more products, that is, formulation containing same active ingredients are said to be bioequivalent if their rate and extent of absorption is same. Means if there are two drugs of identical dosage form and they have the same rate and extent of absorption, then that two products are called as a bioequivalent. Bioequivalence is receiving as increasing attention because of increasing availability and importance of generic drugs in today's pharmaceutical market. Bioequivalence studies are generally used to compare their biological equivalence. Two drugs are called as a bioequivalent when there is no clinical significant difference in their bioavailability. Suppose drug A, it is considered that have the 100 mg of drug and of its brand 1 have the 100 bioavailability and brand 2 have the 100 bioavailability, then that two drugs are called as a bioequivalent. And suppose if brand 1 have the 100 bioavailability and brand 2 have the 80 bioavailability, then also these drugs are called as a bioequivalent, because in bioavailability 20% difference is allowed, but when there is a more than 20% difference, they are not bioequivalent. The drugs like phenytoin are not bioequivalent. So at the time of the use of drugs like phenytoin, we cannot change the brand of that drug. From bioavailability, we can understand that how much milligram of drug we are taken and how much milligram of drug from that produces the action. We have already discussed plasma concentration level curve. In short, we'll see here on x-axis time and on y-axis there is a plasma drug concentration, means how much drug is available in plasma. Concentration of drug increases slowly and then it reaches up to the Cmax. Cmax means the maximum concentration available, and the time required to produce Cmax is called as the Tmax. Here, as more the Tmax, slow action of drug, and less the Tmax, fast. If we given the drug by intravenous route, we will get maximum plasma concentration, and if we given the same drug by orally, it will produce different plasma concentration. In figure, there are two graphs. The first graph is produced due to the intravenous administration of drug, and the second graph is produced due to the oral administration of a drug. Area covered under this graph is called as the area under curve. From area under curve, we can determine how much drug is absorbed and how the drug is available for the drug action. And the formula to calculate this bioavailability is area under curve orally divided by area under curve intravenously. And if you want to calculate, it is in a percentage form, it can be multiplied by 100. And area under curve can be determined by trapezoid rule. Let's see trapezoid rule for area under curve. If we have to calculate area under curve, we have to split the curve into different trapeziums. Suppose if we consider this graph as shown in figure, and if we want to calculate the area under curve, first we have to split this curve into different trapeziums. Here in this figure, we have splitted this curve into 4 trapeziums by vertical lines and join the edge points of these vertical lines with the help of scale. As it is curved, we will not get the accurate area, but we will get approximate area by using this trapezoid rule. Now we have 4 trapeziums, that is trapezium 1, trapezium 2, trapezium 3 and trapezium 4. To calculate the area under curve, we have to calculate the area of each trapezium by using the formula 1 by 2 into sum of parallel sides into height. By this formula, we can calculate the area of each trapezium. So first we calculate the area for trapezium 1, that is trapezium 0 to 1. Put the values into the formula, that is 1 by 2 into bracket 0 plus 1, where 0 it is the left side and 1 it is the right side value of the trapezium force, into 1, which gives the answer 1 by 2. So we got the area for trapezium 1. Then for the second trapezium, again put the values into the formula, that is 1 by 2 into bracket 1 plus 4 the packet complete, where 1 it is the left side and 4 it is the right side value of the trapezium second into 1, and answer is 2.5. Here height is the same for every trapezium, that is 1, which is on x-axis. Similarly, we can calculate the area for trapezium 3 and 4. And lastly, by adding the area of all trapezium, we will get the total area under curve. There are two types of bioequivalence, in vivo and in vitro. In vivo, it is the process of dissolution of drug in the GIT, and in vitro refers the process of release of drug from dosage form as measured in vitro dissolution apparatus. These are the some advantages and disadvantages of bioequivalence. Now we will discuss the last part of our video, that is in vitro in vivo correlation. That is in vitro dissolution, it is the process of release of drug from the dosage form and it is measured in vitro dissolution apparatus. And in vivo, it is the process of dissolution of drug in the GIT. That is in vitro means it is outside the body and in vivo means it is within the body. And the correlationship, it is the relationship between the in vitro dissolution rate and in vivo absorption rate, and it is very useful for the bioequivalence study. And this in vitro in vivo correlation, it is a mathematical model which describes the relationship between in vitro property of a dosage form and in vivo response. The main object of in vitro and in vivo correlationship is to develop and evaluate to enable the dissolution test and to serve as an alternative method for in vivo study. It reduces the number of bioequivalence required for the approval as well as during the scale-up and post-approval changes. This study shortens the drug development period, it economizes the different resources and leads to improved product quality. It assures the bioavailability of active ingredients. It supports and validates the use of different dissolution method and specification. This study assists the supporting biowears and it also comparison with the BCS system. These are the parameters which are used for the correlation, that is in vitro and in vivo correlationship. So first, that is dissolution rate with the absorption rate, percent drug dissolved with the percent drug absorbed in vivo, percent drug dissolved in vitro with maximum plasma concentration in vivo, and percent drug dissolved in vitro with the serum drug concentration of in vivo. There are the 4 levels of the correlation, that is level A, B, C and the multiple level C, which is correlated at the time of the in vitro in vivo correlation study. The in vitro in vivo correlationship, it is used to evaluate and develop the dissolution test to make it is alternative for the in vivo study. From the level A correlation, it is the highest category of the correlation and it represents the point-to-point correlation between in vitro dissolution and in vivo rate of absorption, and it acts as a alternate for in vivo study by changing in manufacturing procedure, formula or it can be justified without human studies. In correlation level B, here there is no any point-to-point correlation, but in vitro resolution time is compared with the mean in vivo residence time, and this data can be used for quality control standards. And in last, the level C, it is a single point correlation like Tmax, Cmax. The levels are useful only for the guide of the formulation development or the quality control.